West Coast Racers at Six Flags Magic Mountain is a redundant ride. Yes, I said it. A park that already had a multi-launch coaster in Full Throttle and a Quasi-Mobius dueling coaster in Twisted Colossus added, get ready for this, a Quasi-Mobius multi-launch coaster. While I can think of a dozen other Six Flags parks where this ride would be a better fit, there's no denying this ride is super fun. I'll explain why in this review. It is worth noting I reviewed this ride nearly 3 years ago, but this is another one I thought that needed to be updated from a quality perspective. Six Flags Magic Mountain built Full Throttle in 2013. This was a Premier Rides launch coaster. This is still one of the park's most popular rides to this day. The biggest criticism with this coaster was its extremely short length. Then in 2015, the park built Twisted Colossus. This was a Rocky Mountain Construction hybrid conversion of the former Colossus wood coaster. Rather than having two separate tracks like its predecessor, Twisted Colossus would be a Quasi-Mobius coaster. This meant guests would experience both sides of the coaster in a single ride, giving them a much longer experience. Now, everyone loves when Twisted Colossus duels. Having the extreme RMC elements combined with one near miss after another is truly special, but dueling can be quite rare. It is dependent upon how fast the operators can get a train out. To the defense of the employees, they are capable of checking the restraints quite quickly for an RMC, but there are two things that can slow them down: guests having no urgency storing their belongings on the load platform, and larger guests needing multiple checks. While the train is slowed way down the second lift hill to give everyone some extra time for a duel, this often is not enough. Flash forward to 2018. Six Flags Magic Mountain announced West Coast Racers. This would fix the two issues with Full Throttle and Twisted Colossus. West Coast Racers would also be built by Premier Rides. This multi-launch coaster would feature 4,000 feet or 1,200 meters of track, which was roughly double that of Full Throttle. Then the coaster would be another Quasi-Mobius coaster, but there was a key programming change here to guarantee a duel. Riders would come to a full and complete stop midway through the ride. Your ride would only resume once the next train is ready to go. This sounded like and is a great ride, but I really think it would have been appreciated more in another park that needed a launch and/or dueling coaster. The ride was originally announced for the 2019 season, but construction was delayed significantly. I've heard some rumors it was a zoning issue. This put the ride way behind schedule. It was being built during the summer months when parks typically want their new rides open. West Coast Racers technically opened in 2019, just late in December, but only for pass holders. The coaster didn't officially open for everyone until January of 2020. This coaster was a collaboration with West Coast Customs, a famous car shop that gained notoriety from the MTV show Pimp My Ride. Not only does the ride itself have some theming, but the overall area received a major facelift. Before this coaster was added, the area was known as Cyclone Bay. It looked dated and dilapidated. It had been a revolving door of removed coasters. The area is now known as the Underground, and it's loosely themed to street racing. That's the perfect tie-in for the new coaster, and the whole section looks a lot better now. The buildings look fresher, and having West Coast Racers flying all throughout the area adds a ton of energy. The coaster is a tangled mess of white and yellow track. As with Twisted Colossus, the park used two different track colors to distinguish the first and second halves. Then it's impressive seeing the support work. It's a very complex structure and supports branch off in many different directions. Then each car has a different and vibrant paint scheme. Most of the queue line takes place outdoors in a covered series of switchbacks, but the end of the queue looks pretty cool. It takes place indoors in a themed garage. You have some paraphernalia on the walls and monitors showing repair work taking place. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's worlds better than what you typically get at a Six Flags park. Ever since opening, West Coast Racers has routinely had the longest wait at Magic Mountain. It's a combination of the ride's newness, capacity, and popularity. The ride can still get half-hour waits even on quiet days, and expect to wait in excess of an hour on busier days. There are two ways to beat the crowds. The paid way is to use the Flash Pass skip the line system. You currently can skip the ride once on any level, or you can purchase a single shot for $10 to $15. The free way is to head there early. Since West Coast Racers is in the very back of the park, few people head here right at opening. If you go there within the park's first hour of operation, it almost never has a wait. I've also had good luck hitting this ride right around closing time too. I have always seen West Coast Racers operating with 3 trains. Each is comprised of 2 cars. Each car is 3 rows of 2, so each train can hold a max of 12 riders. That's not a lot. It also does not help these are not the most convenient trains when it comes to loading. While Premier makes great layouts, I'm not a fan of their trains. They are a chore to get in and out of. You have a minimal seat pitch and awkward restraints. Then you enter and exit the vehicles on the same side too, further slowing the process. The loose article bins at least run along the final section of the queue, which the exit path also goes past, so you at least don't have to take time to store those when boarding. If you have a valuable like a cell phone, there is a zippered pouch for those. Now let's talk about the restraints. These are not comfortable if you're taller. The lap bar component is similar to all the Skyrocket coasters. The portion across your lap is fine, but I do not like the shin guards attached to them. As opposed to the RMC shin guards that have a curved cutout that goes around your legs, the Premier trains have a flat wedge, so it has a much greater chance of being in contact with you throughout the ride. If you ride in the front 2 rows of a car, you can at least tuck your legs underneath the seat behind you. But I would avoid the back of a car, or rows 3 or 6. These rows have a metal plate underneath the seat, so your feet are trapped in place. The other thing you'll encounter are comfort collars. I find these annoying for loading purposes, but they don't bother me on the ride itself. They fit quite loosely on me, and they barely touch me outside of one moment on the ride. I've heard Premier wants redundant belts in their coasters. The options are comfort collars like West Coast Racers, or have seat belts like Full Throttle. The issue with the latter is that the employees cannot check them if a guest pulls down the restraint too early, so I get why the comfort collars are preferred from an operational standpoint. I definitely hope Premier looks into redoing their trains in the future though. It is arguably the company's biggest Achilles heel at this time. I think the forces are consistent no matter where you sit on the train. Try to avoid rows 3 or 6 if you can if you want the extra legroom. However, that may not be possible. Depending on the day, this ride can have strict assigned seating. On other days, there's no grouper and you just move forward to pick any seat you'd like. It's not consistent. Once dispatched, you move forward onto the launch track. The first half takes place on the white side. You pause for a few seconds. There's no countdown, but you do hear this click. Shortly thereafter, you take off. The ride uses LSM launches. The initial acceleration is pretty weak, but you get a notable speed boost by the end of the launch. This immediately leads into the high 5. This is a camelback that's banked inwards at the apex. This creates a really cool near miss with the opposing train, which is going through the exact same element at the same time. But more importantly, it is the wildest part of the ride by far. You get some really aggressive ejector airtime while on your side, but it doesn't stop there. Since the track is pointed left at the top and the ride then turns right, you have a snappy directional change. It induces a quick jolt of laterals. This is followed by a 0G stall. It's a lot shorter than the stalls in RMCs both in terms of height and duration, but you still get some nice hang time. And you have that great visual of the train beneath you, or actually above you because you're upside down. You then have an airtime hill leading into the second launch. This offers some decent floater airtime throughout the train. Launch 2 is a bit awkward. It doesn't kick in immediately, but when it does, it sort of jerks the train forwards, so watch your head here, it'll get slammed backwards. I think this launch is where the coaster hits its top speed of 55 miles per hour or 89 kilometers per hour. This is followed by the ride's largest element, a 67-foot or 20-meter tall corkscrew. It is weird to see a corkscrew as the tallest point on a ride, but here you have it. You take your sweet time completing the inversion, so you get another dose of hang time. You then have this figure 8 bowl section. It sort of feels like a helix. You have 2 180-degree turns broken up by a hump. The first turn is light on the force, but the second one has great positive Gs. Then that hump in between gives a weak pop of airtime. But the coolest part of this element is the visual of the opposing train racing you. It feels like you're jockeying for position as you round the bends. This leads into a bunny hill that offers some weak floater airtime. You then cruise around a rather forgettable turn and slam into the brakes, which sort of doubles as a finish line, but the ride is not over, far from it. You then head into a room parallel to the station for the pit stop. How long you're in here depends how quickly the next train gets out. It could be just for a few seconds, or it could be several minutes, but because you're blocked off from the load platform, you have no clue what's going on over there. During this section, you have a video screen on your left showing some of the work West Coast Customs has done for celebrities across the globe. You then have a lot of loud sounds of cars being worked on. This section isn't anything to rave about, but the key is that it guarantees you duel. This is a major part of the experience, and it would be a shame if it disappeared. Once the opposing train is ready, you roll onto the launch track. This time, you're on the yellow side. As before, you have a short delay, hear a click, and then you take off. This launch is identical to the first one, where it has minimal initial kick and rapidly accumulates speed towards the end. The high 5 is the same great sideways ejector airtime as before, but the exit of the element isn't as extreme, so you don't get the same laterals. Since the apex points right this time, and you also go right afterwards, the transition out of it is way more gradual. You then have a bunny hill offering OK floater airtime, plus the neat visual of the opposing train inverting overhead. You then bank into a bunny hill that leads into the next launch. While it looks really similar to the element on the white side, it oddly offers no airtime this time around. The fourth and final launch is identical to the second one. This is another one that is a bit awkward how it hitches you forwards. You then have another big corkscrew. This element again gives some nice hang time, and as a bonus, there's a little step up going into the element on this side giving a little pop of airtime. You do not get that on the white side. Next is the figure 8 section, but the forces are reversed this time. The initial turn is the forceful one, while the second was considerably less intense. As before, you have a bump midway through offering some mild airtime and the cool visual of the other train riding alongside you. After this element, there's an itty bitty speed hill giving some weak floater airtime. Then you fly through one last corkscrew. This one gives some more hang time plus one last near miss. You then sharply jump upwards into the brake run, giving one last burst of airtime. You then hit the final brakes and return to the station, ending the experience. In terms of smoothness, this coaster is extremely smooth, minus those hitches on launches 2 and 4. Premier usually does a great job in this department, and West Coast Racers is no different. In terms of pacing, this coaster does a really good job. I think both the white and yellow side are evenly balanced in terms of quantity and quality. Then the ride is engaging start to finish. You have enjoyable elements on their own, but those visuals add in an extra dose of excitement. So what would I rate West Coast Racers? I would give this coaster an 8.5 out of 10. This is a really complete ride dabbling in a bit of everything. You have 4 launches, several spots of airtime, 4 good inversions, some positive Gs, and that wonderful racing element all throughout. Those visuals take the experience from good to great. I just wish the coaster had better trains that are more comfortable. That's my biggest con with the ride. But ultimately, this is arguably the top coaster from Premier Rides and one of the better attractions at this California thrill park. So those are my thoughts on West Coast Racers at Six Flags Magic Mountain. What are your thoughts on this Premier multi-launch coaster? Are you a fan of this ride? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.